What's going on, guys? In today's video, we are going to be answering one of the most commonly asked questions, which is how to set up a Webull desktop trading setup. I'm going to go through my full process as to how I build my interface on Webull. Stay tuned. All right, so the first thing you want to do when building your Webull desktop trading setup is I come to the blank layout page. The way you can get here is by clicking the blue paintbrush in the middle left-hand corner. You guys can see right here is the customized layout. And when you get to that page, guys, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to click blank layout. And so what this is going to do is it's going to give you a blank slate to create whatever you want. You can make your setup have 1,000,000 charts if you want, or you can have it the way that I do it, with just 3, right? So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to go to the upper right hand corner. There's going to be a little plus button. So you're going to click the briefcase, which is next to the plus button in the upper right hand corner, guys. That's going to say add widgets, right? So you're going to have the add widgets tab right here. And the first thing that I add when I'm building my customized layout is I click the chart. And so the way that I build my setup is I have an initial chart that I use as my main focus every morning, right? So I want to gauge this to my trading style, right? And so for, me and the way that I trade, I like to focus on one name off of the open every morning. So I like to have a chart right here in the middle, and this is going to be the chart that has whatever stock that I am most focused on because of whatever news it has or anything like that is going to be right here front and center. And I'll adjust the size kind of based on how I build the rest of my layout, but that's going to be the first thing that I do. The next thing I'm going to do is I have a secondary chart setup, right? So I'm going to hit the chart button again on the add widgets, and I'm going to put that chart in the upper left-hand corner. It's going to be a smaller chart, and what I use this for is any secondary names that I'm looking at. So if I'm looking at other names that have good news that I want to keep an eye on, or if I want to keep an eye on the S&P 500 or a sympathy play, I will have these charts set up to the left-hand corner. They will be smaller in size, but they're still obviously visible, and I can use them to accurately gauge if I want to rotate and play a different setup, right? So I have 2 of these. So I'll hit that chart button twice, and I will basically fit them so that they are the same exact size, just one under the other, right? And I'll match the sizing with my main chart and bring the main chart over here. And then I'm gonna also adjust the main chart so that the length is exact with the sympathy charts as well, right? Or my secondary charts. So guys, the next thing that I'm gonna add to my chart setup, which I think is really, really important, right, is going to be my level 2 data. So if you are in the Patreon or you follow me on Twitter, you know that I trade heavily off of level 2. It's one of the most important tools that I use on a daily basis because it gives me a fantastic overview of what the bid ask is. You can tell a lot from the level 2. That's a whole entirely different video. But so you're going to come to that add widgets tab and you are going to click the order book button. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you a little level 2 data right here. And what I do is I like to have that to the right of my charts because it's the most important tool that, at least for me, that I use. If there's a different tool that you like to use, maybe time of sales or something like that, then maybe you put that there. But for me, it's the level 2 data. That's going to allow me to have a really good understanding of where the bid ask is, where buyers are coming in and things of that nature, right? And I'll also add a second one. So I'll add the order book twice. For that reason, if I'm also in maybe 2 trades at once, if I'm trading a theme, like if I'm trading an EV theme and I'm in Lucid and Tesla at the same time, I can have both order books up, which really, for me, I trade on one screen. So I trade on an ultra wide monitor. I can have different tabs open, but I like to be able to just have all of my trading related tools on one interface, right? And so I'll have that under the other, right? And the top one will be my primary. So just say I'm trading Lucid, and then I can have Tesla on the bottom one, right? And so that's kind of the base of my setup, right? Everyone has a core to their setup that works best for them. For me, primarily, I like to focus on the charts and the level 2 being front and center because this is where your eyes are going to gravitate to. And I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but when you're trading at a high frequency, having a good visual setup is super, super important. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add the indicators that I have on my charts, whatever tools that you think are important. For me, the only indicators that I really use are the VWAP indicator. So you'll see at the top on the chart, it'll be highlighted as blue once you select it. It's that blue VWAP button. And then I will also add the volume, because I like to not only have the volume that is already on the chart, but I like to add a secondary one, because oftentimes my eyes will be able to see that a little bit better. It sounds kind of ridiculous having two of the same volume, but I like to be able to have the volume. It helps me gauge it, especially looking at, if I need to come out to the daily chart, seeing dates and times and things like that is really important to me. So the last indicator I add on the chart is the RSI. This will come up at the bottom of the chart. You can select it here on the top. This can be a helpful tool to gauge whether the stock is overbought or oversold. It is not a primary indicator for me, but just a supplemental one. If you see the RSI down in the 30s, that can usually indicate that the stock is oversold, maybe providing a good entry point. Or if the stock is overbought in the 60s and the 70 range, that can be a helpful tool when you are looking to exit a play or a trade in and of itself, right? So those are the primary indicators that I have. I will add those indicators to each of my charts. That way it's obviously consistent across the board, because I don't want to have a different setup on every single chart. So RSI, volume, and the VWAP indicator are the three main tools that I like to use on my charts. You can use whichever ones you like. Some people have way more in-depth indicators that they use. For me, I like to keep things very simple, stupid. It's just the way that has helped me trade the best, right? All right, guys, so the next thing that I'm going to add is I come over to the widgets tab one more time, and I'm going to add the time of sales. The reason that I like to add this is because it is a good view of the live orders that are coming through. So the level 2, while it shows you the bid and the ask, the time of sales is otherwise known as the tape. It's going to show you the actual prints of how large the orders are that are coming through and being filled. So this is a fantastic additional tool to use when trading. Gives you a good idea of if the buy orders at a certain price point are larger or smaller. Sometimes you can see extremely large buying orders coming through, possibly off of news or something like that. So I like to have that in the bottom right hand corner under my level 2 data. So the last thing I'm going to add to my Webull setup is my Watchlist tab. So you can come under Add Widgets, and you're going to go to General. And then under Watchlist, I like to have my watchlist here on the right side. Primarily, one of the reasons that I like to have it here is because oftentimes if I am keeping an eye on a certain trade or a certain name for a key level to break or a key support level to be found, I like to be able to view my watchlist throughout the day. And as you guys can see on my watch list at the top, I have them organized based on themes. So I have my long-term 3D printing, my energy plays, my marijuana plays, Bitcoin mining, all those things are organized. And then I keep my watch list here to the right. And what that allows me to do is be able to navigate very quickly. So if news comes out that maybe the House is voting on legalization for marijuana, I can go to my marijuana watch list tab and understand, okay, maybe this stock hasn't moved yet. I like to have this to the right because I will actively be looking at the same 15 to 20 stocks on a daily basis. And what that allows me to do is look at all those names within different sectors, and maybe there's a key level that I'm looking for in a certain stock. And so my eyes can kind of be on my watch list throughout the day as I can navigate from theme to theme very quickly. All right, guys, so the last thing that I add in terms of widgets on my Webull setup is the order entry tab. For me, I primarily trade options. And oftentimes, because Webull can be a little bit slow with filling orders on desktop, I'll actually use my phone to fill my orders because for some reason for me, it has always been quicker and more efficient. But I will have my order entry down here in case I need to enter something a little bit at a quicker pace. But again, everybody's different. You have to find what works for you. That's the biggest thing with this Webull setup. This is my Webull setup. This is what works for my brain. But like I've mentioned in a lot of my videos, guys, everybody's brain works differently, and everybody might, want their setup a little bit different. Maybe you want 10 charts, maybe you want 1, right? But for me, this is how I set up my Webull. And, it has worked for me, and I'm a big, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of guy. The one thing that I did want to mention you can do is if you would like to link your charts to the level 2 data, you can go up here to grouping and you can say set as a group. You can press 1, and then you can go over to your level 2 for your first level 2 on top and set it as 1. So that way, guys, if you enter in a name like, say, SNDL, it will open up the level 2 data on SNDL and your chart at the same time, which is really, really nice. And what I'll do is I'll group the second name, set as a group, put it as 2, and then I'll have this chart set up as 2. I usually don't look at level 2 on more than one stock at a time, but that can be a really nice thing so that you can, have your level 2 and your chart sync together. So that is my Webull setup. Again, it is what works for me, and that is really what's important when it comes to trading, is finding something that fits your style of trading the best. All right, guys, hopefully today's video gave you a good understanding of how to set up your Webull desktop on a day-to-day basis. This is one of the most commonly asked questions I get. Thank you again for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Thanks again for watching. Peace.